UFC Macau airs in the middle of the night. For me specifically, I would have to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to catch this entire card. And it's not even like it's an amazing card. We have a bunch of road to the UFC tournament finals and a couple of regional people that we may never see again. But I'm going to bet on this card. And we're going to continue to bet on every single UFC card. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to give you my bets for UFC Macau. Before we talk about this card, let's look at the last card. UFC 309 was very successful for me. You saw a slide exactly like this one last week. And I gave you my bets. I gave you a preview. And luckily for you and me and the 4,000 plus premium members, we did quite well. I gave you 2 units of net profit from UFC 309, a 41% ROI. The safety parlay hit for the 7th event in a row. I had to get creative with it to find some value, but we did get creative. We did find some value, and UFC 309 was one of many successful events for us recently. If we look at the last 12 events, I have won 11 of them. 11 of the last 12 events have been profitable for me. If we take a look across those 12 events, I have given you 28% return on your investment. 13 units of net profit across 12 events. In a world where people are crying that they can't make money and have essentially resorted to bragging about how much money they lost, we continue to be the beacon of stability. And within our little universe of stable bets and winning weeks, the safety parlay is even more stable. I hate to brag about the safety parlay because anytime I do, and then eventually will miss, nobody hits at 100% accuracy in this space. It'll eventually miss, and then everybody loses their mind. The safety parlay. I can't believe it missed. But we are on a heater. 7 in a row. And if you've done some quick math, you heard me say I'm up 11 of the last 12 weeks and 7 safety parlays in a row. So that means even without the safety parlay, we continue to have winning weeks. But the safety parlay specifically, it's one single bet. I've hit 7 in a row. 6.45 net units of profit. A 92% return on your investment from one single bet. You can unlock this week's safety parlay. You can unlock all the picks, all the bets, and all the tools, not only for this week, but UFC 310 and UFC Tampa. You can round out this entire year right now with everything we have to offer. It is only $10. $10 for an entire month's worth of access, and that month will give you the rest of the fight cards this year. Just go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's $10 for an entire month. Take a look at everything we have to offer when you're there. It's not just copy-paste bets. That's the easy man's way out. We have complete suites of tools. We have a tool called the Data Analyzer. We coded this from scratch, from the ground up, custom code. This is going to give you a tape index. This is going to give you data, metrics, analytics, fully interactive information so you can find your own spots, validate your own thoughts, or maybe even scare you away from a bet. This is also loaded for future events, not just this week. You're also going to have access to the Prop Hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. And of course, the line movement tracker. This is going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card so you can spot the trends, know when to hop on or hop off a particular bet. Every single freaking thing I just mentioned, a million other things I didn't mention, one package, $10. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. Before I give you my actual bets, let's talk in generalities. This is a tricky card. I am going to end up watching all the fights. Am I waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch these fights? No. That'll actually screw up multiple days of my week. If I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, that means that Friday night I'm not going to be able to fall asleep, or I can't really drink and have a good time knowing full well I have to wake up in a few hours. Then Saturday, I'm going to be exhausted, so Saturday night's a wash. And then Sunday, I'm going to have some carryover exhaustion. So no, I am not waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch God knows what road to the UFC tournament final. What I will do is I'll probably wake up at 4 or 5, as I normally do. I'll watch the main card, catch up on the undercard in between fights, and then I'll be caught up. I will sit in this chair, I'll do a recap video, and life will move on. Overall, it's not a spectacular card, but there are spots on this card. I've got some confident favorites. I've got some solid underdogs, and I do have some bets that I like. If we're talking about favorites, Loner Kavanagh, the only Brit on the card. I don't know if he's British, but he might as well be. The only Brit on the card Good size favorite too. And if you're looking at a zoomed out version of this, you're going to say, well, he's 7-0. His opponent is 7-0. They're both very good. Why the hell is he almost a 4-1 favorite? Well, if you look a little closer and you zoom in, you'll see his opponent has not really fought a high level of competition. And you'll see that Kavanagh is lightning fast, can win fights on the ground, can win fights on the feet, and he's very dangerous in general. And then he has 15 full minutes of cardio in case he can't get somebody out there. I do think he's a prospect. He's probably worth that price tag. Xiao Fang, minus 410. One of my more confident picks on this card. She's a dominant grappler. She's not the most aggressive striker in the world, but there are fights where she doesn't even bother grappling. She'll stay on the outside, just sort of pick you apart. For the most part, though, she wants to come forward, get the takedowns. When she's on the ground, she's not particularly busy, but she does have insane control. She does a phenomenal job, mostly staying in your guard and keeping you on your back, doing little to no damage, but riding out fights, winning fights very clearly, very straightforward, very convincingly. Then we have Quang, another very confident favorite I have, another lady on the card, but much different reasons. I'm confident in her because I do think she dominates, but not like Fang will with the wrestling, but I think Quang dominates with the striking. She's got insane power in her hands, professional kickboxer. She beat Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing, professional kickboxing, transitioned to MMA, brought all that power, all those skills with her, and it seems like her takedown defense holds up. And that is a perfect recipe for success here. She's fighting Gabriela Fernandez, and Gabriela Fernandez is also a decent striker, but she is being brought in to lose. That's why Gabriela is here in China fighting a Chinese woman. Quang is supposed to get the knockout here. In all likelihood, does. Then we have Mingyang Zhang. I'm very confident in him, and I do think he'll get a finish as well. He's basically fighting a blown-up middleweight. He's a guy that can come forward, can get takedowns, and can ground and pound you, or, as we saw in his last fight in his UFC debut, he can knock you clean out standing. Very confident in Zhang to get it done here, and I think we're going to be pretty good with his line. If we're looking at solid underdogs, first of all, this event is not only a regular fight night, but also the road to the UFC tournament finals. If you don't know what the road to the UFC is, it's basically a tournament to get yourself into the UFC in Asia Pac, right? In Asia Pacific. You get a lot of Indian fighters, China, Japan, South Korea. You get a lot of fighters from that part of the world. They compete, and here's the finals. And the winners get UFC contracts. There's a lot of dogs in that tournament final that can win. I actually think I could be wrong here, I think I picked every single underdog in the road to the UFC tournament final except Xiao Fang's opponent. Kiru Sahata is one of them. He's not Japanese, even though I pronounced it that way. He's Indian, and he's long, he's lean, and he does a great job using that length. He'll strike with you at distance. He'll tie you up in grappling exchanges. He'll work a nice Muay Thai plum. If he's defending takedowns against the cage, he widens those legs and he stays insanely wide, almost like what Sean Woodson does when he defends takedowns. I think he can win this fight. I bet on him at plus money. Right now, the odds are dead even with Bet Online. If you go to Bet Openly, you can still get plus money there. I don't imagine he's going to be a dog for much longer. I think most people are seeing what I see. Nikolas Motta. He is an underdog right now. Pretty good size underdog as well. He's Jacob Underdog Lock of the Week. Nikolas Motta is a good striker. He throws hard. He throws fast. He can be technical. His durability can be questioned at times, and his opponent, Maheshate, is also a very hittable guy, but durable on his side. This is a fight with a lot of nuances. Nikolas Motta is probably the better striker, faster and cleaner, but his opponent can just take a beating and continue to move forward. We've seen it in multiple fights, including his last fight against Gabriel Benitez. Rafa Garcia beat the shit out of him, and he was just still there, bleeding everywhere, coming forward. So we could have Nikolas Motta putting on a showcase and somehow squeezing out a decision. He's not really a decision guy. Or Nikolas Motta could eventually be the guy who puts out Maheshate, or Maheshate can take his beating, come forward, stay tough, and then work something from there. I do think Nikolas Motta is a great underdog. These odds are far too wide to not have some interest in him, and he is Jacob's Underdog Lock of the Week. Then we have Nam Tumendemberel. I said that correctly. Your audio likely glitched. You probably have some internet issues or an issue with your phone or whatever device you're watching this on. I did say his name correctly. I'm not going to repeat it. That's on you. You should probably call the Geek Squad to figure out why your audio glitched there. But he is a plus 160 underdog. That's insane. This should be even. This should be an even fight. Skill-wise, they're about even. Nam seems to be the better fighter, but he's fighting regional guys. We'll find out on Saturday if he's a UFC level guy or not. His opponent, Carlos Hernandez, has not had the most amount of success in the UFC, but he is a guy who's made the walk. He's been in the UFC. He's done all the things. He's fought very high-level opponents. So I think Carlos can win this fight, but Nam being plus 160 is insane to me. Those odds are super wide, and if you're on his side, then you should jump on that line. Then we have Davis and Figueiredo in the main event. I don't know why those odds are as wide as well. I have picked Petr Yan to win this fight. Ultimately, for me, it comes down to Petr's takedown defense and the fact that Petr is a true 135-pounder, and as we all know, Davis and Figueiredo is moving up. But if we zoom out and we look at this fight for what it is, we have Davis and Figueiredo, former world champion, moving up in weight. Since he has moved up in weight, he has looked spectacular. 3 wins in a row. He's wrestling like a Nurmagomedov. His cardio seems to be better, and he just seems to be doing really well. He dropped Chito Vera in his last fight, literally the first person ever to do that. So Davis and Figueiredo all of a sudden makes some sense, and this should be a lot closer than it is. Petr Yan's got phenomenal takedown defense. He has some dog in him. He's a very good kickboxer. And yeah, he is 2-3 in his last 5, but those 3 losses are to former world champions or the current world champion. So I totally understand Davis and Figueiredo being an underdog, but he shouldn't be this big of an underdog. Not to mention Petr Yan did have surgery. I am not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor in the YouTube comment sections about how long it takes for this injury to heal. And none of you know what the hell you're talking about. Me neither. I will note the injury. That's why there was a long layoff, but I have no clue. He might be healed up. He might not be. What the hell do I know about hip surgery? Let's look at the actual bets. Not the craziest week right now. I'm not going nuts on this fight card. I do have 3.75 units. We've got 5 bets on the board. We got Kiro Sahata, not Japanese. As I mentioned, super long, uses that length really, really well. I showed you the bet online odds right now are minus 110. He's plus 130. Great value there if he wins, obviously. If he loses, then I'm losing bet's a losing bet. Who cares what the odds were? If he wins, great value. Plus money made some sense to me. I didn't go crazy. I only threw a quarter of a unit on it because the reality is these are regional guys fighting for a crack at the UFC. And betting on regional people brings a whole set of risks. It introduces all sorts of risks and outside influences that you hate to deal with while betting on sports. Then I have a couple of parlays going. We got Carlos Ulberg and Minyang Zheng. I took the light heavyweights that can and should win by finish, and I slapped them together for an almost even money, minus 106. Carlos Ulberg, professional kickboxer, phenomenal kickboxer, but he is fighting the best opponent he has ever fought. Volkan Ozdemir is very good. Literally the best fighter Carlos Ulberg has ever fought. Ming Yang, I'm not that worried about that side. He's fighting Ozzy Diaz, blown up middleweight, a guy that can get finished, kind of a grappler. So Ming Yang should be fine. The Carlos side worries me a little bit, but in order to get any value, I did put them together. I do think they both win. Then I have Xiao Fang and Quang. I mentioned I'm confident in both of them. 2 of my most confident picks on the entire card, and I slapped them together. We'll call it the Wonder Woman parlay. I think Quang dominates striking, potentially gets a finish. Xiao Fang dominates grappling, does not get a finish. Slap them together, not the greatest value in this space, but hey, we're here for consistent wins. We're here for the incredible ROI that I'm putting on the board week in and week out. We're not here for long shot plus 9,000 parlays. That's not me. That ain't going to happen. If you want to lose 5, 10, 20, 50 bucks a week doing that, that's on you. I'm here to make some money, baby. What I will say, full disclosure, I was going to do Carlos Ulberg and Quang as a safety parlay. I looked at this card. I was like, this is a tricky Jesus. And then I just was like, it's going to be these 2. Ultimately, I did not do it because I got a little worried about Carlos Ulberg. I was like, this is the best fighter he has ever fought. His opponent worries me. Volkan Ozdemir does have a lot of losses in the UFC, but they're losses to world champions. Oh, he lost to Daniel Cormier? What a bum. And then Quang should dominate, but hey, maybe she can't defend takedowns. In her last fight, she really didn't fight long enough for us to find out. I am confident in them, which is why I bet on them and I parlayed them, but to stamp the tag safety on there, not something I could do. Song Kanan, win inside the distance decision, no action. Essentially, I took a look at that fight objectively, and Song Kanan is an idiot. He's got some of the lowest fight IQ you'll ever see. What he does have, though, is powerful hands. He almost knocked out Ricky Glenn probably 30 times. He almost knocked out Ian Gary. His problem is he doesn't do what he's supposed to do after he has you rocked. In this fight, though, he's fighting a 40-year-old man. A 40-year-old man who is not dangerous. So what this bet is saying is if Song Kavanagh can finish, and then knockout, submission, whatever, doctor stoppage from a cut, if he can finish Muslim Salikov, I will get paid at plus 150. If he loses a decision, I get a full refund. All my money back. The bet never happened. No big deal. My hands are clean. The only way I lose this bet is if Muslim Salikov finishes Song Kavanagh. I don't see that happening. Muslim's not the most dangerous guy, and he's 40 years old. If there is a finish in this fight, it's on that side, and that bet is plus money, so I am going that route. And then obviously we have the safety parlay. As I mentioned, 7 in a row. We're cruising. We are cruising. 7 safety parlays in a row. Putting up big boy numbers, a 92% ROI over those 7 safety parlays. If you do want to unlock this safety parlay, the rest of my bets, if you want to unlock all of Jacob's bets and future bets, WeWantPicks.com, click become a member. It's freaking $10. I'm going to highlight on Jacob's slide here. Just see right down at the bottom there, the last line of that chart. Bets on future events, 9.8 units. Jacob has almost 10 units on the board right now for future events. Between UFC 310 and UFC Tampa, Jacob already has 10 units out the door. So yeah, this week might not be an appealing week for you because you might be asleep. You might not love the value on this card. It doesn't matter. If you sign up, become a premium member today, you're going to get UFC 310 and UFC Tampa, and we already have almost 10 units of bets on the board for those cards. WeWantPicks.com, click become a member. It's $10. You know the spiel. Jacob's underdog lock of the week is Nikolas Motta. Don't let me tell you why he thinks that. You should watch for yourself. Go watch his lock of the week video. Not only is it a phenomenal edit, but he also explains in detail why he has picked Nikolas Motta as his underdog lock of the week. He also is pretty confident in Yan Xiaonan. If you want to check out all of Jacob's bets, including the future bets, you know exactly where to go. And if you want to get better odds, Bet Openly has the best odds in the space. That's because they are not a sportsbook. They're not a sportsbook. They're not a casino. It is peer-to-peer. The only thing that they do is get person A and person B to bet each other, and they hold the money and then deliver the money to the winner. That's it. That's what they do. So when you're betting on Bet Openly, you're betting another human being on the other side. It's fundamentally different than the DraftKings, the FanDuels, the BetOnlines, because they are casinos. They are sportsbooks. If DraftKings had 100 customers and every one of those customers was winning money, DraftKings would go out of business. That's what would happen. So in order to stay in business, what they do is they juice lines. Even money fight for a sportsbook is minus 110, minus 110. That's not even money. You have to give them 110 to maybe win 100. There's 10% built in on both sides. Bet Openly doesn't care who wins or loses because it's not their money. You're not betting them. All they're doing is facilitating bets between human beings. They take 1% from the winner. You win $100, you get $99. They keep $1 and they use that money to run the website and pay the employees and the developers and keep things going. That is why they can have the best odds. The other 19%, they go ahead and they put back into the lines. If you want to check them out, go to betopenly.com or wewantpicks.com/bet. Openly. And finally, if you want $50, we'll send you $50. It's affiliate marketing. If you go to wewantpicks.com/bet and use our link to sign up with any one of our affiliate partners, you make a deposit, they're going to pay me. I'm going to slice off some of that money and I'm going to give it right back to you. wewantpicks.com/bet. Use the link, sign up, make a deposit, get yourself paid. This card's in the middle of the night. I am going to watch it. You are going to get a recap video. And right after that, I will be putting out my UFC 310 picks. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss anything.